Let's start with India's GDP. With a total GDP of $3.39 trillion in 2022, India has surpassed Britain to become the fifth largest economy in the world. According to the annual economic data released by the Indian government, India's GDP grew by 6.7% year-on-year in 2022. Higher than China's 3% GDP growth rate and the United States' 2.1% GDP growth rate. The total GDP reached $3.39 trillion. Compared with Japan and the United Kingdom, the nominal GDP has surpassed the United Kingdom and is close to 80% of Japan's nominal GDP, and the GDP has jumped to the fifth place in the world. In the World Economic Outlook issued by the International Monetary Fund (IMF) every 3 months, it is predicted that India's economic growth rate is likely to maintain about 6% growth after 2023. If this trend continues in the future, the GDP of Japan and India will be reversed. From 2014 to 2022, India's GDP has been on an upward trend, rising from $1.03 trillion to $3.39 trillion. India's economic growth prospects are promising, and international public opinion is also optimistic about India's economic growth prospects. India's exports totaled $668.9 billion in 2021, up 34% from 2020, which was hit hard by the epidemic. In March 2022, India's exports reached $63.9 billion, up 14% year-on-year. In the 2022 fiscal year, India's exports will reach the target of $450 billion. India's export products mainly include mineral products, chemical products, plastic and rubber products, textiles, leather bags, base metals and products, machinery and transportation equipment, mechanical and electrical products, and spare parts. Among them, mineral exports accounted for 18% of India's total exports, chemicals and chemical products accounted for 14%, and textiles and clothing accounted for 14%. In recent years, India's ratio of exports to GDP has remained more or less stable at between 10 and 12%. As of 2023, India's total population has reached 1.41 billion, surpassing China to become the largest population. India's population growth is mainly affected by several factors. First of all, India is a young country with a relatively young population structure, which makes it possible for the population growth to continue. Second, India's economic and social development has led to improvements in people's living standards and education levels, which has helped reduce the fertility rate. Labor advantage: India has a large population and abundant labor resources, which will be conducive to economic development. India's huge labor resources can bring more opportunities for its exports and investment, and it is also conducive to promoting the development of the domestic consumer market. Large consumer market: India has a large population and a large consumer market, which will help attract more foreign investors and entrepreneurs into the Indian market. In addition, with the growth of India's middle class and the improvement of consumption level, the size of India's consumer market will further expand. Market scale effect: India has a population of more than 1.3 billion, which makes its market size very large. Developing industries in India can enjoy the benefits brought by the market scale effect, including the reduction of production costs, the optimization of the supply chain, and the improvement of market penetration. Technological innovation and talent cultivation: India is a country with a large number of outstanding talents and technical personnel, which helps to promote technological innovation and talent cultivation in India. India has a sound education system and many excellent scientific research institutions and institutions of higher learning, which will provide a guarantee for India to train more scientific and technological talents. Will India be the next mega economy?